Canva Online Tutorial 2018. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to use Canva Online and the iOS and Android apps. G'day, it's Doug from Doug Hewson YouTube here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at a nifty service called Canva that's going to help you with a bunch of your artwork needs, including your YouTube, thumbnails, and even channel art. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Our motto here is to help you with tech wherever possible. So if you're into tutorials, gear reviews, YouTube news, and more, then why not consider subscribing? And if you're really keen, check that bell so you get notified every time a video drops. Let's get right into the tutorial. Well, I've jumped over to my Mac computer here, and I've got my Safari browser open, and we've gone to the canva.com website. Very easy to find, canva.com. And when you get there the first time, you'll get the screen that you're seeing right now. Now, this is your first time using Canva, then you can use this section here. Probably in most cases, people watching this video, you probably just want to start with personal. I already have a login, so I'm just going to log in now, and away we go. Now, when you have an existing login, it'll take you to a section called All Your Designs. When you first log in the first time, you'll get a slightly different screen, Create Your Design. So let's go to that, where it's giving you a bunch of different things that you can create with Canva. But we've got things grouped in categories here, like social media posts. You got your bog standard documents, things that you actually print. We've got some blogging and ebook section here. You can do CD covers and infographics and different things like that. More broad marketing materials like posters, menus. Down here, social media and email headers. So usually when you pick that specific thing, the dimensions are usually set for that particular site's default. Your YouTube thumbnails at 1280 by 720. Your YouTube channel is 2560 pixels by 1440 pixels, which obviously I've discussed in my YouTube channel art tutorial when we were using GIMP and discussing the dimensions and the layout. You can check that in the link up in the corner right now if you haven't seen that video before. And also down here we've got things for events like postcards and cards and invitations, and something in a section called ads, Facebook ads. Because this is YouTube and a lot of my subscribers are into YouTube, and maybe YouTubers, not all of them are, but a lot of them probably are, we're going to maybe focus on a YouTube thumbnail. So let's pick YouTube thumbnail here from the list, and it's going to take me to a page. First thing you can see on the left here is you have these various tabs down the side. The first of which is highlighted here is Canva layouts. Now, because I've chosen a YouTube thumbnail, it's given me some default thumbnails that I can use as a base. Now, these are pretty nifty looking. Now, you can see most of them say free written on them. Now we get to here, we've got just sort of some layouts which are being divided into different sections. Now, the interesting thing about Canva is all these pre-done designs that you can use. So I was doing a photography type video, and you might pick this one here, the night sky. Now I've just clicked on that, haven't I? There we go. And you can see that brings it in over here. How to photograph the night sky with a DSLR. Now that's a great thumbnail. Now you might have your own picture you want to bring in, so you can do that. You've got some default text, so you can adjust the text on there, and there. There's 3 text elements there. You can see the little box highlighting as I hover over. So we can edit stuff that's already on there straight away. Now the next thing is you might want to add something, so you might want to add an element like a shape. So if we go over to elements, there's shapes, as I mentioned here. There's free photos. We can click on that and have access to some alternate photos that we might want to bring in, and they're all different sizes and shapes. So depending on which one you pick is how you crop it and put it on the template as to how it will be used. As you can see, a lot of them are free here, so that's one thing you can bring in elements. It's just grids. You can bring in like a grid outline, frames, put a frame around it. Illustrations, instead of photos, you've got pictures that are drawn, whether it's by hand or computer generated pictures like that. various lines like straight lines, dotted lines, coloured lines, zigzags, your shapes of course. As I mentioned before, you've got squares of corners, you've got circles, icons. Icons are sort of the more infographic type pictures, like a concept of a trash can there. So I wanted to bring in the tick there. I can bring it in, pops it in the middle for me. I can size that straight away. New section here is charts. I'm sure charts is a little bit more technical. You could probably just get some things that just as a representation of charts. Now this section is I love Canva. That gives you like some Canva branding options that you can use. The next section here is text. Here we can pick the basic text by picking a heading, subheading, or body, which will give us different amounts, sizes of text. If I just click on that, see that adds a heading there. Just going to get rid of that. Subheading adds it there. As you can see, it adds it at different sizes of what you would expect a heading, subheading, and body text, but you can fully size and customize those, change the fonts and everything. Underneath those main areas is pre-made sort of little designs here, like swirly parmesan cheese. It's just loading up the font into the browser. See, parmesan cheese. As you can see, these are things that are typically in several different types of fonts and styles. So like this one here is like somebody's name and their job description, acting director. So it adds a couple of text boxes that are joined together as a group. Now, I consider these as something you can use as a starting point, because obviously you want to change the text and you want to update that. You may want to resize it depending on the job that you're working on. So all sorts of text options there. Next one is background, which is basically your background colors. I can add like a background that's got like a gradient or a pattern on it. So this one here, because I've got a picture on there, I think that's sitting actually behind the picture. So let's just move that. So you can see it's sitting behind the picture there. So that, but whatever you pick there will add it to the background. So that's what the very back of your job. And that's probably one thing to mention at this point is Canva works with layers. So we've got the text boxes are all at different layers. The graphics that you add are all at different layers, and you can use your range to move them forward and back, which we'll get to some of these options at the top here once we've finished down here. Now, the last one we have here is upload. You can upload your own images to include, so which is great for doing your YouTube items. You want to include your picture, include a photo. Say you've got your own photo for how to photograph the night sky, you want to include that. So what you can do is just click on upload your own images and give you a dialog box to select your JPEG or your PNG file, whatever file it might be, and upload that. It keeps a history of what you have so you can reuse it. Say I want to add my typical thumbnail type, hey here's me, because I want my face on my thumbnail. We can put that on there. We can move that back behind the text if we want. Not that we would put text across our face, because that would defeat the purpose of having us there. I can bring that forward again. I'm going to remove me off there. But yeah, you can see, you know, I've done some videos on social media, so I've got some social media icons there that I've put in there. So yeah, so this is a section where you can bring in your own photos and graphics that you've pre-designed. Maybe whatever you upload there will also be available in the Canva apps. Okay, so now let's work with the image that we've got. That's a great font, but say I wanted to change the font. It's up here. I've clicked on the text box and I can go through the Canva's pre-aligned fonts and go through those. And here there's an option to upload your own fonts. There is quite a range of fonts already available in Canva, but if you have a particular one that you use as like your YouTube channel font, then there's obviously an option to upload your own font to use in Canva. Let's just say I want to use League Spartan instead of the font that we had there. So then I'll do it. So it's a similar sort of font, but that's the font. You can see it slightly changed size a little bit, but that's fine. Let's go to this one, which is large Gothic. So I want to use Aileron Heavy. I'm just picking random fonts here, not to look good, but just to show you that you can change the fonts. Obviously that font's a lot thicker, so it's word wrapped. So everything sort of wraps down the page there. So let's maybe just reduce the font to fit that in like it did before. The night sky, you can see, obviously it's a different height and everything. So then we might need to go in and maneuver it. And say I wanted to change this font to maybe a more swirly font. Never used this one before. And you can see it's thinking with a DSLR. Like, I wouldn't use that, but I'm just showing you that you can do that. So fonts, obviously you can change the font type, the font size, and if this is sort of hiding here a bit here, you can use this button here to change the color. So let's just change it to like a purple. I might just decide to go to a black. To contrast the colors in the back, that looks interesting. We can center the text. This is like an all uppercase, all caps option here. See, it was typed in as all lowercase, but all caps is on to make it all caps. We can even add in some list or bullet pointing and do some spacing options. Other thing that we can do is we can take an element. Now I'm just going to bring in, let's go to elements now. I need something to work with on here, so let's just bring in the night sky. So let's use this. Say my channel was about photography and the night sky, then maybe this would be like a channel logo. So let's just see what interesting things we can do with this. Now that's a individual layer in Canva, of course. So obviously I can move that. I can copy that. So now I've got two of them, which we don't need. I'm going to delete that. Okay, I'm going to highlight that again. So maybe I want to arrange it, move it forward and back, behind or in front of text or whatever. This one is interesting one. This is a transparency level. Most things that you bring in by default are probably going to be 100%, but you can like make it transparent there, so you can see that sort of fading into the background as I pull the transparency back, which could work really interestingly with some fonts. Now this link thing is an interesting thing. Now you would assume a link would be maybe linking a couple of elements together so they become like in the same layer possibly, but no, this link is like a link to put in a URL. There's no clickable elements, so that's a bit of a waste of time, but there's obviously other artwork where that would actually export as a clickable element. Say I wanted to change that background photo, so we're talking about the night sky, so I don't know if I'd find anything, but you can actually do searches for elements like pictures and photos and illustrations. Night sky. So do a search for that, and you can see automatically I've got a bunch of night sky photos. You can see that's the one we're actually using there, and you can see there's some of that are pro, which means they're paid, or you need to have a pro account to use them. Let's go with this one. So if I click this one, you can see it puts it here. Now watch what happens if I stretch that out to all of a sudden it goes to the background. Now I'm going to get rid of the old one. So now all of a sudden I've changed my picture. As I've stretched it out to the borders of the thing, it's saying, oh, you want to use this as a background. So what it does is it moves it to the back automatically for you. So that's what happened. It sort of disappeared all of a sudden behind the other photo. So now we've got a whole different night sky scenario. It's a different color scheme and everything, which might be something more to fit the theme of the channel or the theme of the video that we're doing the cover up for. You said there's a shooting star here, so then you'd probably want to maybe do some things like this. I'm going to right justify that and move it to there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Right justify, not night justify. And a photograph of the night sky, and then this one I might left justify just to be different. I don't know if I'd keep that black. I'd probably maybe change the color on that if I used to use it like that. I'd probably change the font as well, of course. I'm going to pretend that this is my YouTube channel logo, so I'm going to put that in there as like an ID identification. Say I'm an on-camera personality, so then I might have to bring in maybe a picture of myself. We could probably, as you can see with pictures, you can do a certain number of things here which you haven't covered yet. The filter option gives you like filters like Instagram or Snapchat type filters. Crop is going to allow us to maybe cut out some of this extra bits and pieces on the picture. Now, other things you can do. Now, probably the biggest downfall I've found with Canva in particular is with the text, you can't do borders and strokes and drop shadows and stuff. But there is a workaround. Let's say I wanted to add drop shadow to the night sky section. So what I do is take that and I'll do a copy. You can see it's made a copy straight away. And generally my drop shadow is going to be darker. Like I might go black. And you can see it's in front of it. So what I'm just going to do is push it back one. Till it's behind it. And then while it's still selected, I'm going to use my arrow keys just to jiggle it in place. You can see that gives me a type of a drop shadow, and then maybe I'd make it grey instead, like that. That's probably a bit better for that background actually. So then you can do your back. You can manage like a drop shadow, pseudo drop shadow. Obviously, I can't add a. What you could do is then, because you've highlighted that, you can then add a transparency to that to make that drop shadow a little bit more see-through. If that's something you want to do instead of a solid drop shadow. So you could use your transparency then to give it a little bit of transparency. If you wanted to do something where, like in this other picture here where I actually had the white background, you'd have to pre-prepare your image like that, I think. A good way of doing that is using GIMP if you don't have Photoshop. That's how I did that one. I added that white border for use on thumbnails. Sometimes that helps it stand out. It just depends on the style of the thumbnail or the artwork that you're going for, whether you want to have like a, the border style where you stand out, or you're going for that vibe, or whether you just want to put a regular photo on there. Obviously, when you're bringing in your photos, you want to prepare them as much as possible before you upload them, because you can't do too much in Canva to manipulate them apart from the basic filters and stuff that we talked about. Get your pictures looking good, your photos and pictures looking good before you bring it in, but that's looking a little bit better. Now, say I'm happy with that, so that's my thumbnail. Like, I'm not happy with that, but that's the thumbnail that I'm going with for now, for the purpose of the tutorial. Now I want to use it in YouTube, so what do I do? How do I get a hold of it? Well, simply up here, you've got this download button, so you click that. It's going to want to output it as a PNG. Now that's what you want to go with. PNGs are great. They hold transparencies and they do a pretty good job for YouTube thumbnails, channel art and other things. So just leave that as a default and then click download, and you'll see it automatically is downloading. It's processing the design first of all here. And that's popped into my download folder, and I've got auto preview. It's just popped up the downloaded thumbnail. So that's the thumbnail full size. Now, one last part of Canva is your library of images that you've got. So let me just close this, which is my work window. As you can see over here on here, you get the option to create, in the free version, create a couple of folders. You can see I do my Doug Hewson YouTube channel thumbnail art here, so you can see this is all my thumbnails that are here available online whenever I need to grab them. If I accidentally delete, or if I need to redo my thumbnails, I have them all here ready to go, so I'm not starting from scratch each time. If you want more folders, certainly you can get that by getting the paid version, starting the free trial and getting the paid version. It will give you access to your own folders. Now, it's a simple thing to upgrade anytime you want to upgrade from the free version. Now, I haven't had need to upgrade from the free version. It's very, very functional with the free version, so you don't really need to mostly ever go and adjust that at all. But if you want, you can click on upgrade. It takes you to that window where you can start your 30-day free trial, so the first 30 days are free, and then it will get you an option for whatever the paid program is. Now, this isn't paid or sponsored by Canva. I'm just showing you how to use Canva as it's something that I use, and I want to let people know how easy it is to use. Welcome back. Here we are now on the iPad, And we're going to look at the Canva app this time. So I'm just going to tap on the app and we're going to open Canva. Now, as you can see, it's already logged into my account, so it's showing me designs that I've already used. And you can see the one we just did on the tutorial, which is here. We're going to pull that up now. As you can see, the layout is very, very much the same as on the web. You can see down the side here, we've got our layouts, our text, the background, and our uploads. What you might see is that the selection is slightly different. There's some more interesting colourful text there. The backgrounds, it shows you some circles and also the background gradients. Uploads, click on my uploads, there's my uploads. You can see with this option, now I can go photos, and it will show me all the items that are already in my camera roll. So I can look at that as well. Because I'm in the thumbnail default, you can see the same selection of pre-made thumbnail templates as well. Okay, so let's go back to editing here. You can see I've just tapped on the picture here, which is showing me that I've tapped on the image itself, or the background photo I should say. So I can do interesting things there. You can see the menus are slightly different for the filters, for example, because it's an image. It's given me in this particular layout. Still got the brightness and contrast at the bottom. You've got your Snapchatty, Instagram type filters. I could do a crop, so let's get out of that because I don't want to crop it. I can delete it, and then there's a transparency as well. So those things are coming up in a slightly different way as I select an element. So let me select this element here. You can see the menu is geared around the item, the text, or the picture, or whatever I brought into with the particular options that you can do. So let's say I want to pick, if I'm not happy with the font, what you do, you double tap and then you get the font layout, your keyboard comes up, but you can see, I can see my font here, the Courgette is the one that I've used. I no longer want that one. We're going to go with Cooper Hewitt Heavy just because it was close. Here again we can get smaller font, larger font, pick a particular font size. We can add the bold or italics, and we can change the color and also the alignment, left justified, right justified, centered. So it's all the same options, it just presents them in a slightly different way in the app, of course. So yeah, so it's like Canva Online. It's just they've provided an app for easy access, so you don't have to like try and go find a browser. Now it's quite easy to install. If you're on the on iOS, you go to the App Store, download, type in Canva, you'll find it. You know what the logo looks like now. Let's go out there. There's the C, the Canva logo with the blue. If you're on Android, go to the Google Play Store and you'll find that they'll be able to download that as well. So that's it. It's quite simple. Everything works very similarly. So whether you start or finish on your web browser on your computer or your iPad or your Android device or your iPhone, whatever it might be, the way that Canva works is the same across the board. I really hope that tutorial was helpful to you. I would highly recommend Canva for all your YouTube channel needs, your channel art, your thumbnails and more. If this tutorial was helpful, why don't you consider giving it a thumbs up? And if you really liked it, why not subscribe? In the comments, let me know what type of artwork you think Canva could help you with. Let's share our ideas with the rest of the community. Over in the other box, there's a video that YouTube thinks you might like. This is Doug from Doug Hewson YouTube, and I'll catch you later.